Hello, Alva. Welcome to today's Daily Bible Bite. We're in the Old Testament. We're reading through the book of Genesis, and today we're at chapter 46. So glad that you could join us again today. Here we go. In the end of chapter 45, Jacob decided he will go down to Egypt and see his son Joseph. Chapter 46. So Israel set out with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices to the God of his father Isaac. God spoke to Israel in visions of the night and said, "Jacob, Jacob." And he said, "Here I am." And he said, "I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you a great nation there. I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also surely bring you up again, and Joseph will close your eyes." Then Jacob arose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried their father Jacob and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their livestock and their property which they had acquired in the land of Canaan and came to Egypt. Jacob and all his descendants with him, his sons and his grandsons with him, his daughters and his granddaughters, and all his descendants he brought with him to Egypt. Now, these are the names of the sons of Israel, Jacob and his sons, who went to Egypt. Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, the sons of Reuben, Hanok and Pilu and Hezron and Carmi, and the sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zohar and Shoal, and the son of a Canaanite woman. Shoal, the son of a Canaanite woman. The sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah, and Onan, and Shelah, and Perez, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar, Tola, and Puvah, and Eob, and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun, Zered, and Elon, and Jahil. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Paddan Aram with his daughter Dinah. All his sons and his daughters numbered 33. The sons of Gad, Zephon, and Haggai, and Shuni, and Ezbon, Eri, and Arodi, and Areli. The sons of Asher, Imnah, and Ishva, and Ishvi, and Beriah, and their sister Sarah. And the sons of Beriah, Heber, and Malkiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Leah, and she bore to Jacob these 16 persons. The sons of Jacob's wife, Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. Now to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, and Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore to him. The sons of Benjamin were Bela, Becher, Ashabel, Jerah, and Naaman, Ehi and Rosh, Mupim and Hupim and Arid. These are the sons of Rachel, who were born to Jacob. There were 14 persons in all. The sons of Dan, Hushim. The sons of Naphtali, Jazil, and Guni, and Jezer, and Shileam. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Rachel, and she bore those to Jacob. There were 7 persons in all. All the persons belonging to Jacob who came to Egypt. His direct descendants, not including the wives of Jacob's sons, were 66 persons in all. The sons of Joseph, who were born to him in Egypt, were 2. All the persons of the house of Jacob who came to Egypt were 70. Now, he sent Judah before him to Joseph to point out the way before him to Goshen. And they came to the land of Goshen, and Joseph prepared a chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Israel. As soon as he appeared before him, he fell on his neck, and he wept on his neck a long time. And then Israel said to Joseph, "Now let me die, since I have seen your face, that you are still alive." Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "I will go up and tell Pharaoh, and I will say to him, my brothers and my father's household, who are in the land of Canaan, have come to me. The men are shepherds, for they have been keepers of livestock, and they have brought their flocks and their herds and all that they have. When Pharaoh calls you and says, 'What is your occupation?' you shall say, 'Your servants have been keepers of livestock from our youth and until now, both we and our fathers, that you may live in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is loathsome to the Egyptians." So Joseph's coaching them on how to have a good place. That's the end of chapter 46. Let's read chapter 47. "Then Joseph went in and told Pharaoh and said, 'My father and my brothers and their flocks and their herds and all that they have come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen.' He took 5 men from among his brothers and presented them to Pharaoh. And then Pharaoh said to his brothers, 'What is your occupation?' So they said to Pharaoh, 'Your servants are shepherds, both we and our fathers.' And they said to Pharaoh, 'We have come to sojourn in the land, for there is no pasture for your servants' flocks, for the famine is severe in the land of Canaan. Now, therefore, please let your servants live in the land of Goshen.' And Pharaoh said to Joseph, 'Your father and your brothers have come to you. The land of Egypt is at your disposal. Settle your father and your brothers in the best of the land. Let them live in the land of Goshen. And if you know any capable among them, then put them in charge of my livestock.' And Joseph brought the father Jacob and presented him to Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said to Jacob, 'How many years have you lived?' So Jacob said to Pharaoh, 'The years of my sojourning are 130. Few and unpleasant have been the years of my life, nor have they attained to the years of my father lived during the days of their sojourning.' And Jacob blessed Pharaoh and went out from his presence. So Joseph settled his father and his brothers and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramses, as Pharaoh had ordered. Joseph provided his father and his brothers and all of his father's household with food according to their little ones. Now, there was no food in all the land, because the famine was very severe, so that the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan languished because of the famine. Joseph gathered all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for grain which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. When the money was all spent in the land of Egypt and the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came to Joseph and said, 'Give us food, for why should we die in your presence, for our money is gone?' And Joseph said, 'Well, give up your livestock, and I will give you food for your livestock, since your money is gone.' So they brought their livestock to Joseph, and Joseph gave them food in exchange for horses and flocks and herds and donkeys, and fed them with food in exchange for all their livestock that year. When that year was ended, they came to him next year and said, 'We will not hide from my lord that our money is all spent, and the cattle are my lord's. There is nothing left from my lord except our bodies and our lands. Why should we die before your eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for food, and we and our land will be slaves to Pharaoh. So give us seed that we may live and not die, and that the land may not be desolate.' So Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, and for every Egyptian, and bought all the land for Pharaoh. For every Egyptian sold his field, because the famine was severe on the land. Thus the land became Pharaoh's. As for the people, he removed them from the cities. He removed them to the cities, from one end of Egypt's border to the other. Only the land of the priests he did not buy. For the priests had an allotment from Pharaoh, and they lived in the allotment which Pharaoh gave them. Therefore they did not sell their land. Then Joseph said to the people, 'Behold, today I have bought you and your land for Pharaoh. Now here is seed for you, that you may sow the land. At the harvest you shall give 1/5 to Pharaoh, and 4/5 shall be your own for seed of the field, and for your food, and for those of your households, and food to your little ones. And so they said, "You have saved our lives. Let us find favor in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's slaves." And Joseph made it a statute concerning the land in Egypt, valid to this day, that Pharaoh should have 1/5 only of the land, and only the land of the priests did not become Pharaoh's. Now, Israel lived in the land of Egypt and Goshen, and they acquired property in it, and were fruitful and became very numerous. Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, so the length of Jacob's life was 147 years. When the time for Israel to die drew near, he called his son Joseph, and he said to him, "Please, if I have found favor in your sight, place now your hand under my thigh and deal with me in kindness and faithfulness. Please, do not bury me in Egypt. But when I lie down with my fathers, you shall carry me out of Egypt and bury me in the burial place." And he said, "I will do as you have said." He said, "Swear to me." So he swore to him. And then Israel bowed and worshipped at the head of the bed. And that is the end of chapter 47. Now, we want to look at chapter 15 of Matthew and finish that chapter. So here we go. Starting at verse 21 of chapter 15 in Matthew. That's the first book of the New Testament. Here's what it says. Jesus went away from there and withdrew to the district of Tyre in Sidon. And a Canaanite woman from that region came out and began to cry out, saying, "Have mercy on me, Lord, Son of David. My daughter is cruelly demon-possessed." And he did not answer her a word. And his disciples came and implored him, saying, "Send her away, because she keeps shouting at us." But he answered and said, "I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel." But she came and began to bow down before him, saying, "Lord, help me." And he answered, and he said, "It is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs." But she said, "Yes, Lord, but even the dogs feed on the crumbs which fall from their master's table." And Jesus said to her, "O woman, your faith is great. It shall be done for you as you wish." And her daughter was healed at once. Departing from there, Jesus went along by the Sea of Galilee, and having gone up on the mountain, he was sitting there, and large crowds came to him, bringing with them those who were lame and crippled and blind and mute and many others, and they laid them down at his feet, and he healed them. So crowds marveled as they saw the mute speaking, the cripple restored, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they glorified God in Israel. And Jesus called his disciples to him and said, "I feel compassion for the people, because they have remained with me now 3 days. They have nothing to eat, and I do not want them to send them away hungry, for they might faint on the way." And the disciples said to him, "Where would we get so many loaves in this desolate place to feed and satisfy such a large crowd?" And Jesus said to them, "How many loaves do you have?" And they said, 7, and a few small fish. And he directed the people to sit down on the ground, and he took 7 loaves and the fish, and giving thanks, he broke them and started giving them to the disciples. And the disciples gave them to people, and they all ate and were satisfied. And they picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, and 7 large baskets were filled. And those who ate were 4,000 men, besides women and children. And sending away the crowds, Jesus got into the boat and came to the region of Magadan. Now, do you notice that is the second time Jesus fed thousands of people at the end of Matthew chapter 15? For a treat, and just squeezing it in, is Genesis chapter 48. So back to that story then. Here's what we'll read. Now, it came about after these things that Joseph was told, "Behold, your father is sick." So he took his 2 sons, Manasseh and Ephraim, with him. And when it was told Jacob, "Behold, your son Joseph has come to you," Israel collected his strength, and he sat up in bed. And then Jacob said to Joseph, "God Almighty appeared to me at Luz in the land of Canaan and blessed me. And he said to me, 'Behold, I will make you fruitful and numerous, and I will make you a company of peoples, and I will give this land to your descendants after you for an everlasting possession. Now, your 2 sons who were born to you in the land of Egypt before I came to you in Egypt are mine. Ephraim and Manasseh shall be mine, as Reuben and Simeon are. But your offspring that have been born after them shall be yours, and they shall be called by the names of their brothers and their inheritance. Now as for me, when I came from Paddan, Rachel died, to my sorrow, in the land of Canaan on the journey, when there was still some distance to go to Ephrath, and I buried her there on my way to Ephrath, that is, Bethlehem. When Israel saw Joseph's sons, he said, Who are these? And Joseph said to his father, They are my sons, whom God has given me here. And so he said, Bring them to me, please, that I may bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were so dim from age that he could not see. Then Joseph brought them close to him, and he kissed them, and he embraced them. And Israel said to Joseph, I never expected to see your face, and behold, God has let me see your children as well. And then Joseph took them from his knees, and he bowed down with his face to the ground. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim on his right hand toward Israel's left, and Manasseh on his left hand toward Israel's right, and he brought them close to him. But Israel stretched out his hand and laid it on the head of Ephraim, who was the younger, and on his left hand on Manasseh's head, crossing his hands. Although Manasseh was the firstborn, he blessed Joseph, and he said, The God before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac walked, the God who has been my shepherd all my life to this day, the angel who has redeemed me from evil, bless the lads. And may my name live on them, and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. Now, when Joseph saw that his father had laid his right hand on Ephraim's head, and it displeased him, and he grasped his father's hand to remove it, and from Ephraim's head to put it on Manasseh's head, and Joseph said to his father, Not so, my father, this one is the firstborn. Place your right hand on his head. But his father refused and said, I know, my son, I know. He also will become a people, and he also will be great. However, his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his descendants shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, By you Israel will pronounce blessing, saying, May God make you like Ephraim and Manasseh. And thus he put Ephraim before Manasseh. And then Israel said to Joseph, Behold, I am about to die, but God will be with you, and bring you back to the land of your fathers. I give you one portion more than your brothers, which I took from the land of the Amorite, with my sword and my bow. And that is the end of chapter 48. A big bite today. God bless you. I hope you've enjoyed it. And we'll see you tomorrow for a daily Bible bite. Bye for now.